Day 4 of the documentary. Still in East Atlanta on Moreland Avenue. All this stuff what y'all see right now. All this stuff, that none of this used to be right here. See, they put the Dan 411 studio right there. The Lions Chicken that used to be the Fish Supreme back in the days. Then they redid the Buffalo China. Put the Buffalo China right there. Y'all see the brand new McDonald's, they redid the McDonald's. Then the church right here. This church always have been like here. They just did a little work on the church. You know what I'm saying? Still look the same pretty much. Long John Silver been here forever. They ain't never did nothing to that. It's still been the same old Long John Silver. You know, still on Metropolitan. Corner Metropolitan, Moreland Avenue. Good old shot of everything one time before we shut it down over their way. Brand new Buffalo China. Dance studio. Church. That's it for this this right here. We're gonna wrap the thing up, then going down to Oak Grove. Alright. Yeah. Live on Oak Grove right now. This street right here had a lot of good memories and a lot of bad memories. And we're gonna start with the bad memories right now, man. This house right here back in 1991, 92. It used to be blue. And my homeboy stayed right here. His name was Curtis. He was one of the first people from East Atlanta that died. They got killed. And he got killed in this house right here. The house was directly across from where he stayed at. And at the time, this house was green. My home was some white people stayed here, and they had weed growing in the basement of the house. And it ended up being a sad situation, man. My homeboy got his throat cut. You know what I'm saying? In the house right there, he died in the basement of that house. That was in 1991 or either 1992. But they done redid this whole house, man. This house used to be blue. It didn't have none of this stuff in the front yard, you know what I'm saying? And you can see they done added on. See that right there? I don't know, they done turned it into some type of duplex or some type of apartment or something, I don't even know. But there was a lot of bushes right there too. And this house right here, my homeboy Eric stayed here. You know, after all that right there happened, like in the early probably early 2000s or whatever. But all this right here that you see, all these houses is brand new. None of these here in the 90s. You know, this street was a party street for us when we were little. We used to always come up here and come to parties and hang out at truck house before truck got killed. That's it, man, basically. Take y'all down the truck house right quick. Yeah, this is truck old house right here, man. Just show y'all the picture of the house truck stayed in when he died. Let's walk down the street and see which one of these houses Ron died in. I want to say this is the house right here where Ron stayed at when he died. It was either this one or it was that one over there. But the house was pink back then. Back in the 90s they had it. It was pink. It was a pink house. So it was this one or it was that one. It was one or the other. But that's what Ron was when he died. That's a wrap for that one. Finna move it on to the next one. See that? Get them shoes. See that right there, what that say? You got that? Alright. Let's do it. this house right here. This tower of them old house. This was the house right here where we used to do a lot of crazy mess at all the stealing car days. This was the backyard we used to do all our taking the motors out, stripping cars down, you know what I mean? Everything went on behind that house right there in the cut. You know what I'm saying? We ain't really a whole lot to say about this house, but this was the history of this house right here. It was just used for that one particular reason. That Tara and Riri, their mama, their little brother stayed, you know. It's yellow now, but it was blue back then, back in the 90s or whatever. That's it for that. We finna keep it moving. Yeah, we on Matt Ferris. Come on. Remember that house right here? This house used to be blue. This where Willie them stayed at back in the days. There's a whole lot of history on this street right here, man. Matt Ferris Avenue. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to my homeboy Dwight, man. Y'all remember Dwight used to be over here. The rest of them house, man. House right here. Right here. This is where Kenton stayed. Rest in peace my homeboy Cool Breeze, you know what I'm saying? My partner Mark, man. He was a part of that group called Trap Squad back in the days. In Day Day. Shot Black. They had a group called Trap Squad. It was Cool Breeze stayed at. He got killed a couple years ago, or whatever. When I used to cut grass, when I used to hustle for cutting grass and stuff like that, I used to cut that yard right there all the time. When I first learned how to cut grass, I had to learn how to cut grass in the yard right here with that hill at. Me and Chief Boy taught me how to cut grass. That's my homeboy Rick, Eric, all their uncle. You know what I'm saying? But that's it for that right here. We're gonna shut it on down to tomorrow. Get out of here. Tell me when you recording. Hey, what to do, bro? This is your boy Cain. We on day 5 of the documentary, The History of East Atlanta. And we're gonna start on East Side Avenue today. And we're gonna start from right here. This house right here. Back in the 90s, this is where my homeboy D. Drell stayed at. My homeboy D. Drell and his daddy Pokey stayed there. And when they moved there, my homegirl named Sean moved out. Her, Maurice, Queen up, and their brother Keno, and they had a cousin named Tim. But when they moved here, this is the house I caught my second drug charge at right here. Back in 1996. I got caught with 2 pounds of weed at this house right here. And I walked down this street right here, and I came in the yard right here, and I had the weed in the box. The police were hiding in the tree. And I didn't think to look up in the tree because it was unexpected. So I'm walking like this, minding my own business with the weed in my hand. As soon as I get in the yard, like 6 police just jumped down out the tree. And it was crazy. But this is why I caught my second dope case at, man, right here back in 1996, man, you know what I mean? 96 to 97. I was like 16 to 17 or whatever. All right, let's walk.
Go.
This house right here, this where my homeboy Tank stayed at. A lot of y'all probably don't remember Tank, because Tank had kind of got lost early, in the early 90s. And he moved to East Lake Meadows, and that's why I finally caught up with him in the Meadows, after I had to move from East Atlanta. But yeah, this is where Tank stayed at. That's what Deidre and Sean and all them, they stayed in that house right there. That's why I caught my second dope case at, for the weed. Gonna keep that thing on moving. Alright. This house right here, this is where my homegirl Shantae, Glenda, and their grandma, they always stay right here since we were little. My homeboy Chuck moved right here, man. Him and Shantae was in a relationship. They had kids together. Chuck was from East Lake Meadows, Shantae was from East Atlanta. So that was an old slick connect, you know what I mean? East Lake, East Atlanta. But yeah, this is right here. Shantae, Glenda, their grandmama stayed right here. Alright, we're gonna keep moving on down to the rest of the neighborhood. Alright, right here, you see this right here? Monument, the Metropolitan. This street right here, my homeboy Ishmael stayed right there. Down this street, my homeboy Michael Dunn stayed down there. You can't see Michael Dunn house from right here, but Michael Dunn stayed down there. And up there, my homeboy Pretty Tony, Red, Martini, all them stayed up there. Kentan stayed up there once upon a time. But on over here, this house right here new. It was woods right there, something else right there, but that house one right there at first, they just put the house right there not too long ago. This house right here, my homegirl Scent stayed in that house. She was a police, but she was one of the cool police, you know what I mean? Not one of the haters. You know what I'm talking about? And on down. This house right here used to be a rooming house. This rooming house, we did a whole lot of stuff in there. That's where we take all the girls at, do our thing, cut up a lot of dope, sell a lot of dope, all that rooming house right there. My homeboy done stayed in this house. My homeboy Brian and Travis, they wasn't real popular in East Atlanta, but I knew them because I knew everybody from East Atlanta. So I hung with everybody. Even the people that didn't run the streets and the folk that did run the street. I hung with everybody. So this was Travis and Brian them stayed at. The house was blue back then, way back in the 90s it was blue. Like I said, that's the old rooming house right there. It was yellow back then, or something. This house right here always have been here, but we ain't never know who stayed in the house right there, so we never bothered them. But this house right here, after my recent Keno started living with Sean over there, they moved in with their mama right here. And this house right here was I think it was brown back then, but as you can see, they done tore the whole house down, and they putting a whole new house up, as you can see. This right here, this house right here, my mama met her first boyfriend from East Atlanta in this house right here. His name was Moreland. And Courtney and Brandon stayed there. So that was my half sister, half brother, if you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. Courtney, Brandon in prison now. Courtney, she's down Terry Mill now. So this house right here, that was my homeboy TJ don't stay there back in like 1991, 92. They stayed right there from way back in the 80s to like 91, 92. Then they moved somewhere else. The house, they redid that whole house too. It was red and white at first. And they had rails on the front porch. They was red and white too. This yellow house right here, Mr. Highland old house before Mr. Highland died. I used to work with Mr. Highland when I was about 13, 14 years old. He used to fix washing machines and dryers. And I used to help him deliver them once he fixed them. So that was a way to make me a quick couple dollars, you know what I'm saying, about $20, $30 back then, you know. A little quick come up, you know what I'm saying. Now right here, all this wood, all this, what you see right here, this was a shortcut right here. We used to use this shortcut to run from the police. Run from Eastside Avenue to Blake Avenue. But you see all the trees and everything in the road right here. So I don't know what's going on with that now. But yeah, it was a rooming house right there where we used to sell dope at back in the day. So we used to run from Eastside through here and go to Blake and run up in the rooming house. We used to sell dope at the rooming house back late at night, back in the 90s or whatever. And all this land that you see right here, Junior done stayed right here. I guess they done tore the whole house down, so there ain't no house right here no more. But Junior stayed here. My boy Killer stayed here. I ain't seen him in a good little while. But this house right here, Pop stayed here. Pop moved in this house about 1990. Pop moved here about 1995. And he still stay here right now to this day. This house right here. You see that and told Mr. Highland whole house down there. We did Mr. Holy. Look at all this. They done put up a fence and everything right here. It was a little gate right here, and there was a driveway back there where we used to put out the washing machines and dryers and all that stuff over there. I don't know what back there now because I can't see. Anyway, this is my old house. 394 Eastside Avenue. And this is why I got into a whole lot of trouble. You see that air conditioner down there? Come up close. There's a basement down there. And that's why you sell all my powder out that basement window down there. And my mom used to be upstairs, and I had the whole basement to myself. So she didn't really know what I was doing down there. She just knew I had a whole lot of friends coming by, seeing me. This house right here, Mr. John house. I don't know if Mr. John still stay there or not. But he was old neighborhood friendly man. Right here, Miss Mary. Miss Mary still stay here to this day. She used to work at Kirkwood Clinic. A lot of y'all know her from Kirkwood Clinic or whatever. This house right here, I met the people that first stayed in the house back in like 1990, 1991. It was a girl, her name was Paulette. She stayed there with her mom and dad or whatever. But she was kind of one of the first girls, like when I was about 12 or how about what I was then, I used to want to have sex with her because she was fine and she was pretty. But then she moved, then my homeboy done moved out, Corey, Meechie, and all them. Brian, they stay up the street now. But yeah, Eric, Miss Ann, their whole family stayed right here, man. They were my homeboys. I know a lot of y'all probably don't remember them, Corey, Meechie, and Brian and all them. But that's who stayed there. This house right here, there was just another old trap house where we used to have it in the hood back in the days. Everybody who moved in, we got to know them and we sold dope from right there. This house right here, we used to hide our dope behind this house. Stolen cars, you know, we steal cars, hide cars behind here, stuff like that. This house right here, back in the 90s, it was blue. And the people that stayed there, they hated us because there used to be like 100 of us out here. Man. They was old. They were old fashioned and we were young. And so we were doing our thing, you know what I mean? And they didn't like it. So they used to always call the police. And so that's who had me locked up the first day my son came home from the hospital when he was born. They had me locked up because I was sitting right here in the yard. and they called the police and told the police to lie on me, and I went to jail. You know what I'm saying? This house right here, same thing. I forgot who stayed there back then, but we used to use that house to do something with. This house right here, you see that? Marble Avenue, East Side Avenue. This was the Crowder old house. And the Crowder was some of the first people I met when I first moved to East Atlanta. They moved from Joyland, and I moved from Scottsdale. And this is where they moved to. And they was like my brothers and my sisters and my cousins and all that, because that's how close we were. You see all these houses right here? This was a church right here. Well, none of these houses right here. This was a church. And this whole street right here was our trap. So all we did on this whole street was sell dope. The whole street. And there was a church right here, and there was the neighborhood church where everybody went to. And on that church, the church sat far back, and there was some little land right here, and there was a brick wall right here. So we just sit right here on the brick wall and sell dope in front of the church. And that's just when we were young, so don't judge us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but that's what we used to do. Sit right here and sell dope in front of the church. Had a play, pull up, come right here and serve them, and they keep moving. They come from that way or come from that way, whatever way they want to come. You know. This house right here was the store. There was a store right here first. And we used to use the back of the store to go to the back of the church, because there was a cut right there to get to Marble Avenue, or just to run from the police or do whatever it was we wanted to do. So all these new houses right here, all this new. None of this wasn't right here back in the 90s. I don't know how long they been here, but all of it new. That right here was nothing but a big old church and a whole lot of land full of rocks. Wasn't no trees and none of that, just straight rocks in these land. Right here, see how they done did this house? It didn't look nothing like this. This was my homeboy Brock, Big D, Mike Set, Steve, they grandma, all them stayed here. And we had a basketball goal on that tree right there. And there was a lot of rocks in the yard right. We used to play basketball in the yard right here all the time. Right here. I used to sit right here every day. 24 hours a day, I used to sit right here and serve right here in the stove right here. You see this? This is what my homeboy Derek called his murder case at. The first person from East Atlanta that went to prison for murder. He killed John, and John was working in the store. I used to work in this store when I was young. And this first time I got caught stealing out of the store when I was working right here. When she used to go in the back and turn the lights and stuff out, turn on the alarm, I used to go behind the counter and steal change and steal money. Until she caught me one day and fired me, and that was it for that. And after that, we just started breaking in the store all the time. But anyway, we finna go set this down right here. We're gonna go down to Marble and let y'all check Marble out. Alright? This driveway, this is still the crowd of the old house. Well, it's the new roof stay here now, but this driveway always have been here. Bang used to fix on what Bang used to do a whole lot down before he died, man. Rest in peace to Bang, man. Rest in peace to Joe Crowder, rest in peace to Bang. This house right here, this house, it ain't got no lot of history over here. It been here for a couple years, but it ain't got that much history. Just like that house right there. It been here for a couple years, but they ain't got a lot of history. This house right here, 1474 Marble Avenue. This was the first house we moved in. This was my mama's first habitat house, right here. And we moved in that house back when the dogs came out. Remember that song, nah, 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 your mama smoke crack rock. That's when that song came out. You remember that song? Anyway, come on. This was another house I stayed in right here back in the 90s. So I stayed in 3 houses in East Atlanta. I stayed in the house on Eastside Avenue, stayed in the house right here, and I stayed in the house right here. But they done knocked it down and redid the whole house because after we moved out, then my partner Young Vito done moved in. And when Young Vito done moved in, a couple of years after they moved in, somebody came by and shot the house up. And they had to tear the whole house down, and that's what it is now. This house right here, Mr. Hanson house. Mr. Hanson got a whole lot of history in East Atlanta. Come on. Look at him. See what he doing now? That's what he was doing back then. He still had that same old El Camino, but it was blue back then. He don't have like 5 on. You know what I'm saying? I just gave you a shout out, Mr. Hanson. I just gave you a slick shout out. Oh. This house right here, this is what Sean and stayed at back in the day. Sean and Tiffany and Miss Mamie and Granny. All them stayed in the house right here. This we used to come play Super Mario Brothers and Mario Kart and all that old type of stuff at back in the day when Super Nintendo first came out. This house right here, this is where my brother stayed at before he went to prison. My brother, he was like 14 years old. I think he was 14 years old when he went to prison. Back in early 90s or whatever. But this where he was staying at, there where he was selling dope at and all that old type of stuff. I remember when the police folks came looking for him, and they told me, they said, if you don't tell her where your brother at, we're gonna come back and lock you up. And I wasn't about 12 years old. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what was going on. But yeah, that's what they told me. This house right here, this is where Bell stayed at. Bell and that boy Moon. This is where we sell a lot of dope at right here. And this is the first time I ever had a gun stolen from me. From old boy from right here, Moon. He had I had him hit a little lick and I came and hid the gun. And he knew why I hit the gun at. He came and stole the gun. And on this same street, this is where I shot my homeboy cousin at right here. On that very same street right here. The first person I ever had to shoot my homeboy cousin. This house right here, this is where Flip stayed at. And Flip right now to the day, that's my engineer. So when y'all hear that song, They Wonder, and you hear me say, Flip, where to do this, where Charlie Cain? That's where Flip stayed at. That garage been right there ever since then. One day, I had got into it with the police. And I ran all the way from Eastside Avenue, ran down here, hit this fence right here, came around the back way, hid and flipped in the garage. Police didn't know what was going on. They didn't know what to look to. All they know is I was gone. But then what happened that day when I had to shoot my boy cousin. We were walking down the street right here, me and my little partner now. And he was out robbing. And he pulled up right here beside us, asking us about one of our homeboys trying to play it off or whatever. And they were kind of dog. And I guess he didn't think we was, you know, peeping him out trying to see what he was up on. Anyway, he tried to play it off. He jumped out the car. Let me show you that pole right here. He jumped out the car and he tried to hide behind that pole right there. You see that pole right there? He tried to hide behind that pole. And so when he came out, we were about right there. And he just came out and started shooting. Just shooting at us. Just shooting at us like he ain't care if he shot us, he killed us, no nothing. He just came out shooting. And when he came out shooting, I had a fast reaction. You know what I'm saying? And I hit him. And his family, they understood what was going on. His cousins, they were my homeboys. Like right now to this day, we still real cool. We still talk every day or every other day. We done did music together. It wasn't never no hard feelings or no love lost and nothing like that. It was just one of them cases where, you know, the world what it was. And wasn't nobody can say. And then they can be said about it. Cause he came over here and tried us, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that what it was. That what? Blake Avenue. This house right here. This was a candle lady back in the days. My homeboy mama had this house. She used to sell Cain out this house. My homegirl Nikki stayed right here. This was the church where this was the street where all the church family stayed at. Everybody who was into the church, everybody who was into God, this is where they stayed at right here. Like those from the house up there. My folk them stayed there. They still stay there right now. R.I.P. to Ben Nike, man. Ben Nike got killed in Latonia or whatever. But he stayed up there too. That's what I could do it. This street always have been quiet like this too, even back in the 90s. Cause everything we did on that side of the hood. We ain't never come over here and really do too much over here. But that was my homegirl Barbara, Sandra, Akeisha, Derek. All them stay right here, man. They all grown and they moved on now. But their grandmamas and their mama still stay here. And these houses gonna be redone about 5 times since the 90s. I remember we used to come here and spend the night, look at TV, watch movies and all of those type of stuff like that. But that's it for right here. I'll take y'all on to the other side right quick. This street right here, this McPherson Avenue. Right here, this was a house, some good that I did back in the days when I was young. So old people stayed here. And I used to come here and help them out, make sure they were straight, you know. Make sure a lot of stuff went right with them. My homeboy Dirty Mike stayed on this street, man. My homeboy, he in prison doing time right now for counterfeit money. But this was my other little partner that stayed at, my homeboy Jeff. My homeboy Jeff and his brother Billy, they stayed in the house right here. And I don't look this way. See this? This thing used to look like this. But this where my homeboy stayed at, man. My homeboy Gene. This where him and his mama and his brothers and sisters stayed at. Shout out to that boy Gene. Shout out to that girl, Erica. Shout out to D. You know what I'm saying? What's up, D? This is the house they were living in when Transon died. That was my boy's stepdad. But this house right here, this was my homeboy Eddie Joe stayed at. And they had the trampoline in the backyard. And we used to come in their house right here and get on the trampoline and bounce all around and act crazy. And this was my homeboy Lorenzo them stayed there right here. Lorenzo and Tracy. And my boy Derek. This house right here, this was the house behind my old house. This was Dempton stayed at. But Dempton still do stay there. But look at that house right here. Right here, Leon stayed there. His daddy, Mr. Willis, stayed there. And Curtis stayed here. But we finna walk down the back street and I'm gonna show y'all where my homeboy Chickenhead stayed at. The first house where I ever recorded my first song at back in 1994. Alright. This it right here. Shout out to my homeboy Chickenhead. This is the first house we recorded our first song again back in 1994. And the song was called In the Meadows. But this is where I learned how to drive sticks at too. They had a broke down crossing in the yard right here. And I used to get in that car and just play around with the stick shift. That's how I learned how to drive sticks. But this is right here, the first house where I ever recorded my first song at, back in the 90s. Down here, that last house on the corner, my homegirl Tab stayed down there, her brother stayed down there. R.I.P. to my boy Nick, he dead now, he died a couple years ago. But Nick stayed right there. My homeboy Charles stayed right here. I used to go to Virgin with Charles. And he had a cousin named Tony that stayed him. They used to call them boys the Rabbit Boys, because they used to ride on rabbits back in the days. But that's it for this crew right here. We're gonna go on up to the next part of the hood. Alright, we still on Matt Fierce. The house right here. This is where my homeboy Rambo stayed at. Right here, my homegirl April. She stay in California now. She done went down there and got married and got all booed up. But that was she staying now. Right here. My homegirl Sharon stayed right here. My Uncle Barry and all them. All them stayed right here. Right here we had Peanut. This house right here. Peanut and Mr. Roy. They stayed here before they died. Both of them dead now. But this house right here, this house got a lot of memory, a lot of history. My homeboy Marvin, before he died, this where Marvin used to be at. Rico, before he died, that was Marvin's son. Both of them dead now. My other homeboy, DeAndre, all Marvin kids, all them stayed in their house right here. But this the first house I ever DJ'd at when I was about 11 years old. I DJ'd a party for them right here, this house right here when I was 11 years old. And back then, I had tapes. That was before I ever DJ'd at a strip club before. It's the first house I ever DJ'd at. So that house down there was the first house I ever recorded my first song at. And then was the first house I DJ'd at back in the 90s when I was about 11 years old. I had tapes DJing back then, using tapes and crates and all that old type of stuff back then. But that's it for the house right there. You answer your phone? The house right here. That's where my homegirl Levita stayed at, and her mama, and they stepdad Bernard. I ain't seen him in a long time, but the last time I seen Bernard was probably like, well, we were locked up together in Cain County when I caught the trafficking case, and he was locked up for something else too. But this house right here, this is the house right here on that porch right here. This is where a lot of the rapping started at right here. Back in the day, my homeboy Eli had that house. They moved from somewhere to East Atlanta, but they got cool with everybody from East Atlanta. And we just started all hanging at their house right here. And that's where a lot of the rapping and everything went down there, right down their front porch. A lot of freestyle, a lot of beat making, a lot of everything. Everything dealing with music. That's what we done it at. But this house right here, this house wasn't right here at first. It was a bus stop and a bench right here at first. Now they done put this house right here. But that's about it right there for this area right here. And you see the front of the house right here. This is where the store was at, like I said the first time. This is where the store was. And this street right here, this is the first time I ever punched the police in the face right here on this street right here. Right here on Eastside Avenue. He tried to lock me up for, he ain't tried to lock me up, but he was talking crazy because I was outside past curfew. That was what he was doing. Because I was underage. And they used to always try to come talking crazy to us because we was outside late at night. So one day he pulled up talking crazy, and I was just tired of it. And then it was on. That's all I can say. You know what I mean? But alright. That's it for this right now. Y'all see Lee over there? That's Raymond, Auntie Lee. Say what's up to Lee, y'all. What up, world? I'm gonna welcome everybody to day 7 of the documentary. And we're gonna start right here, this house right here. McPherson Avenue, we still in East Atlanta. Today we just gonna specifically talk about the day when I got jumped on by the police when I was 16 years old. And it started right here. We was having a party at this house. That's when they didn't have moved here, and everybody used to come hang out right here or whatever. And we was selling dope that day. Trap was booming, doing numbers. There was a lot of moving around going on. There's a lot going on. Period. Me and Brock, we was around. Well, we would get phone call back to back, so we had to keep on moving around or whatever. So the last phone call we got was to go to Latonia. So we left here. Rolled down to the end of the road. Officer Allen was sitting down there. And he worked for the Atlanta Police Department back in the days. He probably still do, I don't know, or whatever. But as we got to the stop sign, he was sitting right there watching traffic or whatever. And Brock pulled out and made a left. And I guess we looked suspicious because we were two young black boys. You know, Brock, he was like 17. I was 16. It was 2 days before my birthday. So I was 16, about to turn 17 in 2 more days. And when he pulled us over, he noticed me from East Lake Meadows, because he was the one who had locked me up for trying to steal a car from school. That it was probably like a year before that, and I was living in East Lake. Anyway, I guess he remembered me from that little situation right there, and he just didn't like me or something, so he took out his hang out on me then. But we're gonna stop right here, and we're gonna go down to where everything happened at. So yeah, this where everything happened at. This the stop sign right here. So if we came down McPherson, got right here to the stop sign, Officer Addison was parked right there, by that sign right there, watching traffic. So we got by right here, pulled out, made the left, and we got by down to that green sign right there. And that's when he came and pulled us over, or whatever. So what he did was, when he came to the car, he asked for Brock's license, asked for the insurance. Brock gave me his driver's license, gave him the insurance. He ran Brock information. All Brock information came back clean. And so when he looked in the car and he seen me, he came around to my side of the car, and I had all the dope in my pocket. I had probably about $2,000 worth of crack in my pocket, because I was selling all crack then. So I had about $2,000 worth of crack in my pocket. So he came around to my side, and he told me to get out the car. So when I get out the car, he started asking me, can you search me and all this and that. I didn't look suspicious. I didn't do nothing. I didn't say nothing. Like I said, he just had that anger built up or whatever, and he just wanted to do something that day. And so when I got out the car, he grabbed my jacket. And when he grabbed my jacket, I think I might have snatched back or whatever. And when I snatched back, he hit me in the head with the little police stick or whatever. And when he hit me in the head, I fell on the ground. He just started beating me with it. He probably hit me about 15 times with it. And he had bust my eye open, swelled up my whole face, and messed up my lip. My whole face was just like, it was all messed up. It ain't, see how cute it is now? It wasn't cute like that after he did all that, you know what I'm saying? But after he did all that, all the dope had fell out of my pocket or whatever. And that's how I caught that cocaine case. After he found all the dope or whatever, he put me in handcuffs, put me in a car, and took me to the hospital. And that's when I seen Josh in the hospital. So they had beat up Josh that same night. My homeboy Josh, he from East Atlanta too. So that's how I caught that. That was my first dope case, my first crack cocaine case. So So I had that crack cocaine case, then I had that big weed case, because I had got caught with 2 pounds of weed. And so that's where that first dope case and that weed case come from. And you know, with that whole cocaine case, I ended up beating that because of what happened. But they stuck me with the weed case. That's why I did 4 years on probation for the weed case or whatever. So that's it for that. That was just to give y'all a little bit of that story about why I got beat up by the police or whatever. Alright.